This is the second in a series of videos about this greenhouse build. If you haven't watched the first video, you may want to go back and check that out so you can get an overview of how I use the shipping container and what kind of systems are built into it. I'll put a link below in the description so you can go back and do that. In this video, I'll share with you about why I built it and some of the principles I used in my planning and budgeting. And it's my hope that this video will inspire you, but I also hope that it equips you with some practical tools. You know, a custom-built, one-off greenhouse like this is very different from buying a manufactured kit, but the principles I'm going to share with you still apply. Fact is, they'll apply to any kind of a project. My wife and I grew up on farms, and we've had gardens most of our 45 years of married life. We kicked around the idea of having a greenhouse for years, but never really had the proper opportunity or motivation or even knowledge until I began to produce videos for how to farm and garden. I've been blessed to be able to record and interview some amazing innovators, some life-changing people. The more I learned from them, the more I became inspired, but my main inspiration came from a man named Michael Blend. He blessed me with the ability to go in and document his solar greenhouse build and work beside him. We've produced 20-some videos about that, and we're still doing that. You can find that on howtofarmandgarden.com. But Michael is very articulate. He's a good teacher. He's a certified permaculture instructor and a great builder. He's been doing building all of his life, and I learned a lot from him. And Michael, if you're listening to this, thank you. It's good to have a mentor. It's good to go out and actually get your hands dirty with somebody else that's doing what you think you want to do. When talking about planning, I like to use the word picture of a puzzle. There's a lot of pieces in the puzzle, but if you lose one, besides freaking out, looking all over for it, or if you decide to quit before all of the pieces are in there, you're going to be really disappointed in the outcome. And that's how it is when you're planning a project like this. Make sure you get as many pieces as you can together. Have a mentor. Read as many books as you can. Watch a lot of YouTube channels. And of course, watch this one. But the bottom line is do your homework, find your confidence, and move forward only after you're sure that you're ready. So after you've defined your goals and know what you want to build, the next step is to do your due diligence and create a feasibility study. So how I do that is I make a list of questions. Do you have the land or do you have to purchase it? Are permits going to be required? If so, what has to be done to get the permits? And how much will it cost? Are you going to be inspected at every phase? All that. You need to figure all that out. You should be able to get that permit information from your local city or county planning office. Will you need construction insurance? I was self-financed, so I did my own work and didn't need this insurance. I didn't hire anybody. Something you'll need to investigate. Are you going to install utilities such as water and electricity? If so, do you have to get a permit for them? Who's going to install them? How much will it cost? How long will it take? Will there be any post-build costs such as additional taxes, insurance, HOA fees, maintenance, management fees, or security? You know, our taxes are unaffected as long as our politicians don't change the rules. So who's going to do the work? Do you possess the time, the skills, and tools to do some or all of the work yourself, or are you going to hire subcontractors or a contractor to oversee the whole thing? In any of these scenarios, it's important to create a timeline with each segment so you can set some reasonable goals and stay on track. But if you're going to hire a contractor, I highly recommend that you put some performance clauses in your contract. What resources do you already have? Write down as many resources as you can think of. But this includes your skills, your knowledge, and things like extra plumbing, supplies, electrical supplies, paint, welding rod, whatever you need, gasoline, all those little things that cost money when you're building. See what you already have and when you ask yourself that question, when you're actually writing down the cost, it'll help you remember not to miss anything. For example, I had a friend who had a stockpile of dirt, and so I was able to get 200 yards of dirt for this project at no cost except the hauling. That was pretty darn expensive, and of course the excavator to move it around. We also have a local restore here where we live, and we have others in the area, and we are always checking those. And Craigslist, some communities have online garage sales. That works really good. eBay, stuff like that. Use all those resources to figure out where and how you can get stuff. For example, also, we put 6 French doors in this greenhouse. Very nice doors. They were brand new, but we found them at a restore about 120 miles from us, and we were able to buy them for less than half price, and they were brand new, still in the crate. You know, I've saved money on mortar by buying damaged bags from the local box stores, and that worked good for me because I had the time to do the searching and the shopping. I wasn't in any time crunch, so it wasn't a problem for me. But remember, a contractor is not going to be able to do that. Also, sometimes you can spend 50 bucks trying to save 50 cents. I've done that. And if you hire anyone to help you, make sure that you research the employment laws in your area. And when you're using help like friends or family, what I like to do is avoid misunderstanding. So I always write down my expectations and promises in writing so I don't forget. And I find it can be helpful also to at least give them something for their help, a good meal or veggies from your greenhouse when it's done. A gift like that is really helpful, and they deserve it. Who's drawing the plans? You are going to draw plans, right? A good set of plans will help you from lying to yourself and telling yourself stories. And it'll give you the tools that you need to identify your cost. I drew my own plans, but you can too. But if you're not really familiar and good at it, experienced at it, it's a good idea to have a professional look at it. Because you can use a good set of plans, not just to figure out what you're going to do, but also you can get a good materials list from that, and a way to get bids for all parts of the construction. So how are you going to pay for this project? Now that you've done your due diligence, you should have the tools to identify the cost and determine the feasibility and do the budget for moving ahead with your project. If you find yourself in sticker shock and beyond your means, you at least have the tools so you can modify your plans or the project and adapt your schedule until you can fund it. These are the steps I went through before I started this project. And speaking from experience, I highly recommend you don't take any shortcuts, and you'll find yourself confident in enjoying the experience in getting your greenhouse built. In my next video, I'll talk about some of the site planning and how we put the water and utilities in. We'll look at how I built the climate battery and the earth tube, and get into some of the nuts and bolts of how we built this thing. So the best way for you to stay updated is for you to subscribe, and you can hit that button below. I also appreciate you hitting a like button, leaving a comment, sharing, and thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.